guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for having me. I thought today would be the perfect day to talk about this. We'll be showing you how to go from this to this. This space that I am in right now, and what I've learned over the last 12 months and how to kind of speed that process up for you in terms of lighting and audio and a few other little bits and pieces that I use to make sure I get the best feedback and know that I'm producing what I want to. So without further ado, let's jump into it. One of the things I really suffered with when I first started filming these sorts of shots was when the sun went down. Like it is today, we don't have much natural light coming in. It's overcast, it's moody. It's exactly why we're making this video, because I can't bloody get outside and do anything else. However, we had to come up with a way to overcome that. And one of the things that I first purchased were 2 softboxes. Super cheap, well, relatively cheap compared to what you can get out there. We paid £150 for our 2 softboxes, and what that allows me to do is it brings in artificial light that we can mimic as daylight. So right now we've got our Kelvin sector daylight on the one softbox that we're using just to the left of me, and what that's doing is it's just throwing some nice light across my face and producing a bit more contrast within the shot that we are working with here. When we throw that natural light across the scene like this, what it's doing is it's just highlighting my face and me within the shot, so it brings your attention to me. So let's very quickly get rid of our light box and see how that looks. Immediately I'm not highlighted within the shot, so this, I'm struggling. And that is exactly what you want to do when you are producing a shot into camera and you're having a conversation with someone, because it feels like we're eye to eye, right? Next thing that we want to talk about is how we introduce secondary lighting to that set scene to make it more interesting and visually appealing to the people that are watching your videos. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing that I did is I went to IKEA and I invested in some really cheap coloured light bulbs. These were light bulbs that I was able to change with a little remote, and what that allowed me to do was introduce these secondary colours into my scene. Now let's get rid of all the ambient light and see how that looks. So that's all of the ambient light taken out of the shot. One last thing, let's get rid of the monitors. And that's all the light gone from our shot other than natural light. Now you can see that my background is actually being shown up more than I am, just because of the way that natural light is thrown into the room and how much of an effect all of those things have on the shot. Let's bring it back. Another thing that I think is super underutilized by YouTubers, especially starting out like myself, and this is something I've only just started to realize, is using the monitors that we naturally have. So whether it's our laptops or our computer screens, we can use these in ways to subliminally tell people things that we want to convey within our videos. You might want to put up a massive YouTube sign behind you just on your laptop, and that will tell people that you're a YouTuber. Sounds stupid, but if you're sharing to other channels like Facebook or Instagram, you're able to get that message across. For me, I like to convey other things within my screens. At the moment, I've just got Spotify set up on my laptop because I've been doing and listening to that today. However, on the huge screen behind me, I've got Premiere open because I love editing videos and I want to tell that story. So that's us. We've nailed the lighting within the shot that we're producing, and we're super happy now, and we're telling our story to our audience with the correct exposure on everything. The last tip I will give you for these talking head shots is try and come up with a background that shows other things or other interests that you might have that people might want to ask you about. For me, because I'm an adventurer, because I like getting out and exploring, I've also got a boat and we get out on the water. I've got my wakeboard behind me. I've got my rollerblades sat in the corner down there. And I've also got these pictures lined up behind me, which you can't fully see, but they're comic book shots, and that's just another thing that I love. And I think when you throw in that vibrancy of other things about your life, it just makes that shot so much more engaging. Right, we've smashed the lighting. Now let's talk about audio. So a huge part of audio is actually post-processing. It's taking that raw file that you've produced with the audio on it, throwing it in your laptop, and then creating a better sound with that software. If I didn't have that software available to me, my audio would sound like this. which is incredibly different to it sounding like this. This is how audio sounds once you've learned a few very, very basic techniques on making it richer, deeper, and just getting rid of some of the ambient noises that you might not be aware are showing up on your audio channels. There are 3 things included in my audio setup for the studio. One is the Rode mic that we're using. It's the video mic, and I will provide a link in the description for that. We're also using a microphone stand and a 3.5mm jack extension lead, which is 3 meters long. It just allows me to have the audio closer to me and further away from the camera, and that makes a huge difference in audio quality. So the last thing that I invested in very recently was an external monitor. One of the reasons for that is I shoot on a Sony A7, and the Sony Alpha 7 range is horrendous for not being able to flip the screen around on. I also wanted a bigger monitor that I'd actually be able to check myself on when I'm recording. So we've attached the monitor to the microphone stand using a Magic monitor arm. The one that I've got is 11 inches, and it just allows me to set that whole thing up. It's all set up with the microphone, and when I don't use it, I simply just pull out the 3.5mm jack, the HDMI lead out my camera, and that sits in the corner of the room and it's ready to go for whenever I need it. Well, that is a wrap. I hope you've enjoyed this little video and it helps you create a better studio environment for your audience. If it has, drop me a comment below. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I will catch you very soon. Bye, guys.